Hi, this is Osman. I am a master level energy healer with telepathic capabilities, specializing in terminal illnesses and critical care recovery. And also a advanced level yoga and meditation teacher. So remember to visit my website yogawellness786.com for more information on my services and contacts. Also remember that all my therapies are natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, be sure to consult with or visit a qualified and licensed medical professional in your locality. I wanted to discuss my opinion on coffee from a yoga and meditation perspective, right? So there are some schools of thought when it comes to yoga and meditation. They say stay away from stimulants, even tea and coffee, right? So between tea and coffee, tea seems to have about half the caffeine of coffee. So it is a milder intoxicant from a caffeine perspective than coffee. So let's speak on coffee firstly. And firstly, from a medical science point of view and scientific point of view, to have 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day is beneficial for your health, especially during the daytime or the morning, where you can improve your circulation and improve your, pre-workout, to have it as a pre-workout before you work out. It helps to warm your, the effect of a warm-up. It's like an upper and helps, helps significantly and noticeably in your workout, right? So there are some advantages. So you have to be very careful on these advices, because many people thinking coffee is healthy, then you don't, control the amount of coffee, right? So it's amazing to try to keep you alert and awake, right? For most people, not everyone. Some people don't feel any effect of drinking coffee. So it can come to day when you're having too many cups of coffee. So especially, as a business person who used to work very long hours, I needed a lot of coffee, and I used to love espressos, because you're not drinking so much of liquid. You're having the effect of the coffee in a small dose, and you push it down, right? So I used to have 16 cups, 16 shots of espresso a day, plus two double size of Red Bull, energy drink that has got very high levels of caffeine, plus so many other additives to boost your awareness. Not the normal level, the double sized, right? I think the one that is around 370 mLs or 450 ml. I don't know how many mLs or how many quarts or how many ounces it is, but it's the double size of specifically Red Bull, because I found it was a good brand name and I felt it's safe to go with a popular brand name that is internationally recognized and is not going to be harmful. And there was a stage of my business I hardly had time for sleep, and I just said I'll just push myself just for 90 days, because I'll go into a 90 days and take a break after 90 days. I'm going to push myself to the limits, and sometimes we go into the 90-day challenge, right? So I put myself there and slept an average of 2 to 3 hours, say 2.5 hours a day, for that 90 days. And I was making some progress from the challenge, and I wanted to repeat a second round of the challenge to take my business further up, right? I said, okay, just one more. And that's what led me to 16 shots of coffee, espresso, and 4 double Red Bulls a day. At the end of the 6-month period, I had a major nervous system, like full body, complete collapse of my body. There was no medical condition that affected me or virus. I was just extremely sick, and I got so sick. I lost so much of weight. I think I lost, if I'm not mistaken, about 15 pounds of weight, or about 30 kilograms right, in kilograms, within a 2-week period. That is, it can be fatal, to lose so much, because it is dangerous to lose more than 5 kg in a month. And I'm someone who don't like going to a doctor or going to a hospital, and I refuse. But when I reached that level where I lost so much weight and I was just not getting better, right? Then I had to go, for medical intervention, and I should not have left it so late. It was irresponsible of me. But I was always strong in my body, and I always recovered, on my own strength because of practicing long-standing yoga and meditation. But long-standing yoga and meditation is not going to work when you're killing yourself with a lack of sleep and using, high levels of caffeine, to keep you alert and awake, right? So this is dangerous. So it's an extreme level that I practice and experience. And I would say even if you go to 4 cups sometimes of coffee, right? Not very like a regular coffee. If you have a double, like an Americano with a double shot of espresso in it, consider that as 2 coffees, right? And also remember, for every coffee that you drink, or you need to hydrate with at least 500 mLs of water, right? So let's say you're having an espresso, then you have to drink, for at least 2 cups. 1 cup of coffee or 1 espresso, you need 2 cups of water, right? Because coffee has a dehydrating effect also in your body. To counteract the dehydration effect, you need to drink plenty of water, right? So usually when I have an espresso, I take a bottle of water that's equivalent to about 2 cups of water, and then I sip on it to balance that. And I try not to go more than 2 espressos or 2 coffees in a day. Sometimes I go up to maybe 3 or 4, very rarely. Maybe sometimes I will go into the swing of having coffee every day, 1 coffee a day, right? And recently I've been having like 1 coffee, I would say about, in the last month I probably had about 5 coffees, right, in the month. But sometimes I can go 6 months without any coffee. But coming to the teas with caffeine, right, you get the green teas. It's got caffeine, slightly more than regular tea, but not as much as coffee, still around half that of coffee, very slightly more than regular tea, but proven to have very therapeutic effect. They found scientifically those who have 2 cups of green tea has a positive influence on the health markers, and those that have 5 cups of green tea has got significantly more improved positive improvements, positive influence in the health markers, right? In cancer prevention and, improving your overall, metabolism and control of your diabetes, sugar levels, your insulin levels, and all these things, right? There's many benefits to green tea. So if you want to get into a habit of green tea, it's a caffeinated drink. This is good. And from it affecting yoga and meditation, it's going to affect yoga and the meditation in the sense, from my experience, right? I could be wrong, in the sense that if you have too much of it, it's going to spike your cortisol level and stress. And meditation, you want to reduce the stress levels. So yes, you can use meditation and yoga as an antidote for your coffee habit. And if you can't get off it, but try to wean yourself off it, right? And wean yourself off it by interspersing it with green tea, an alternative. So you can't just cold turkey get rid of coffee, replace with something else. So instead of having like your 12 cups, 8 to 12 cups of coffee a day, have 4 to 5 cups of green tea and 4 cups of coffee, in between. And start by reducing from 10 cups or 10 to 12, like slowly down, by 2 cups, like from 10 to 9, 9 to 8, 8 to, week by week. If you're used to having a high level of coffee, you can't cold turkey stop it. You will have withdrawal symptoms, right? So you have to wean yourself slowly, week by week or every fortnight. I prefer every fortnight, reduce by 1 cup and replace with something healthier and also got caffeine as well. So your body doesn't go into, but it's going to have a positive, like green tea. So eventually, if you can come down to like 2 cups of coffee, ideally, but be on 4 cups of coffee and have plenty of green tea, is going to be fine, and you'll be able to, improve your health. So that's my opinion from a yoga meditation perspective. And there are other teachers that completely forbid all intoxications, all intoxicants, even coffee and tea, because they become addictive, right? Their intention is that it becomes addictive and it can lose control of it, and it's going to, affect your stress levels and your cortisol hormones, and which is not conducive to what you're trying to achieve in your mindset and a balanced mind, right? But in terms of your progress in your yoga development, I don't think that coffee is going to detrimentally affect, my opinion, no, not going to detrimentally affect your progress or your development of your Kundalini energy and so forth. So I don't feel, you should restrict yourself, from that. No, restrict yourself completely from alcohol. Have it responsibly. You can have a glass or two of wine with your meals, or 1 or 2, pints of beer, with meals or after meals, and or immediately after meals. And of course, on social occasions, you're going to have a party. That's okay, right? It's not going to. I mean, there is going to be some detrimental effect, on your energies, but not something that I would say is significant, because I had many, various stages of my life. I lived an omnivore, close to carnivore diet, because I loved red meat too much, and hardly, I did not like vegetables. And now, I mean, people who would imagine that I'm a whole foods, plant-based, full-time person, right? But I used to have more mainly carnivore, but say omnivore diet, and drink alcohol, socially, regularly, for relaxing myself and de-stressing in the evening, and so forth, and socially as well. And I was a party animal. I used to abuse alcohol in the weekends, right? When I was free, I said, no, I'm free. In my free time, I will drink. But when it came to work, I worked. And I worked long hours. The good thing is I had long hours, so, and I didn't, abuse alcohol most of the time, unless it was entertaining a client, over lunch or dinner. And then, of course, I bought drinks and, had, and practicing yoga and meditation and reaching the highest levels of meditation and, Saamadhi state, right? With that type of lifestyle. So you don't have to quit everything and become an abnormal person like a monk, a total vegetarian, no coffee, no cigarettes, no alcohol, nothing. You're living in society, a normal lifestyle, right? So coming back to coffee, be wary of coffee. It's not good for your health. From a yoga sciences point of view, also we're trying to attain, the alpha state and maintain there. We're trying to, move away from stress and anxiety and high levels of cortisol. So don't chemically, put that. And especially because one of the most common ailments today that nearly all regular people have is depression, stress, and anxiety. Now, coffee is something that's going to pump up your cortisol levels, which is going to feed and increase your stress. So, especially if you're having stress, you have to be extra cautious and extra careful with the coffee. Okay. So, I hope that information helps you, and take care of yourself always.